Hillary Clinton makes history last night accepting the Democratic Party nomination for president. Introduced by daughter Chelsea, Clinton walked out to a roaring crowd. In her address, she spoke about who she is and where she came from. It's being called one of the worst disasters to hit a Maryland historic area in years. Saturday night's flash flood left 2 people dead and devastated downtown businesses and homes. Patricia Vallone is in Ellicott City, where the cleanup has begun. Officer William Porter's attorney argued before the 7 high court justices his client should not be forced to testify at the trials of Officers Caesar Goodson and Alicia White because he's not a witness as he faces a retrial in the Freddie Gray case.
Every time he gets up on the stand, he subjects himself to a perjury charge which carries 10 years more.
The justices also heard from prosecutors in the case who feel Baltimore City Circuit Court Judge Barry Williams erred when he ruled to not force Porter to testify in the trials of the 3 arresting officers, Garrett Miller, Brian Rice, and Edward Nero.
I believe it was an appropriate and wise decision for the Court of Appeals to take this case from the intermediate court.
All 6 officers charged in the case attended the hearings, which centers around the state's immunity statute.
These issues are settled law in Maryland and in the United States. It's always been a prosecutor's weapon to grant immunity to witnesses once they make their showing of proof, and that appears to be what took place in this case.
Porter's trial last December ended in a mistrial when jurors were unable to reach a unanimous decision on the 4 charges against him. The 6 officers have all pleaded not guilty in the death of Freddie Gray, who suffered a severe spinal injury while in the back of a police van last April. The trials against the 5 officers and the retrial of Officer William Porter are on hold until the 7 justices here at the Courts of Appeal make their ruling. A decision is expected soon. Karen Adams, CTV News. And it's a cross between a car and a motorcycle, and it's now legal to drive on Maryland roadways.
I want one.
Maryland Transportation Secretary Pete Ron is talking about the Polaris Slingshot. Ron and his grandson Braden took one out for a spin here at Pete's Cycle.
I enjoyed it really good.
What'd you like about it?
How it went really fast.
This vehicle is actually, a class braking sort of vehicle, and we needed a new law that defined it so that we could combine the need for a normal driver's license as well as the safety requirements of a motorcycle.
The Slingshot is not a car or a motorcycle, but an autocycle. It has 2 front wheels and a rear one, a steering wheel, seats, and standard transmission. You've probably seen them on the road, but since July 1st of this year, you're now able to register them here in Maryland.
That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun for not only us at the dealership, but the consumers.
I think these are super cool, and I'm really going to have to consider buying one of these myself.
If you're looking to buy a Slingshot, Pete's Cycle for now is the only dealership selling them in the state.
But they just came out with a roof finally for it, available for 2017, a rooftop, as they call it, a sunshade basically, to keep you out of the sun. But it's basically a 3-wheel convertible.
Now, if your autocycle doesn't have an enclosed cab, you must wear a helmet and eye protection. Pete's Cycle Company will have the Polaris Slingshot in stock after Labor Day. Investigators are now looking for answers into the ambush of police officers in Dallas, Texas that left 5 dead and 7 others injured last night. Officers used a bomb robot to kill a gunman after negotiations failed. He's been identified as 25-year-old Micah Johnson. Dallas's police chief and mayor updated the media this morning. And a senior congressman and Washington's quarterback Kirk Cousins used a new video game to bring a lesson in financial literacy to Bowie High School today. Congressman Steny Hoyer and Cousins played on opposite sides as they taught a group of students about money management using the new game Financial Football.
Financial literacy is, absolutely critical to people, and not having it when they get out of school and they start trying to manage their finances and they don't know how, they can get in a hole very quickly.
The congressman also took the time to speak about lawmakers breaking for the Memorial holiday without addressing key legislation, including on the Zika virus.
Given the administration the resources necessary not only to respond to Zika, but also to respond to the financial crisis in Puerto Rico, the terrible events that happened in Flint where kids are drinking water that has lead in it.
Hoyer says he feels Congress has once again let the American people down. A local swim organization is celebrating its golden anniversary this summer. The Temple Hill Swim Club is turning the Big 5-0. Located at 5400 Henson Drive, the club hosts about 3,000 to 4,000 visitors during the summer season.